I took down some notes, and this was, what they had left over,
Yeah.
and it should have stayed in the. This whole album, nobody's gonna like me. This whole album should have stayed in the can. Put the lid on it, weld it shut, and never see the light of day.
All right, Royce, this guy's got to go now. All right?
Look,
This guy
Nick,
doesn't know
Nick,
what
Nick,
he's
a
talking
reason.
about.
Nick,
Don't listen to
There's
him,
a
folks.
reason.
Oh,
Wait,
no,
wait.
man. Now,
Nick,
how
Nick.
dare you? Get up here. Come on,
The
buddy.
first two tracks were uninspired to me.
Nick,
How?
I have to ask.
Poor Tom would have absolutely improved 3. Don't give me that shit. John
It
Bonham's
could have done
drumming?
that.
Oh, my God.
This as
Lord.
a collection. This
I'm
as
shocked.
an album. As an album. We've never seen eye to eye, but as an album, look, I have the first two. Well, no, granted, Poor Tom is up tempo, uninspired, but it did bring in some nice musicianship. But you put it with an album that all together as a whole. This is an album we're talking about, not
Yes, it is.
a per song. And as a per song, I'm looking at, okay, that was okay, catchy. Who's in? I mean, I don't have a lot of great things to say about the album as a whole.
Well,
it's not. I did not. I had 2 more LPs. That's 4 sides, and I was so uninspired. I left them in their sleeves. I've listened to it in a big room. I've listened in a very big room, 4,000 square foot rooms. So I'm catching up. Now, some of it was very upbeat and enjoyable, but as an album as a whole, I didn't see it as it shouldn't have been released.
Right.
Contractually, there you go. That's the only reason this album. Why do you think this music didn't get released sooner? They had to produce another album. That's why I didn't make the cut on the other album.
Well, you know what?
I love Zeppelin.
I know you do. Yeah. Well, sometimes some songs don't fit that album as well as other songs, and they got to cut it off somewhere. And there were several that were made during the sessions for Into the Outdoor that wound up on Coda because they just didn't seem like the right fit with the group of songs that were going on Into the Outdoor.
I'm just glad I'm not the contrarian tonight.
We're not all
I'm usually the guy that plays that card. So,
right.
You know what? I'm going to say this.
Flip.
Yeah. With this album, it's not the first Led Zeppelin album that I would put on to listen to on any given day. All right.
No,
so, valid point there, Nick. Number 2, is it their best album? Most fans put this at number 9 out of 9 studio. Nick 10.
That's exactly,
Nick's been watching too much Spinal Tap. We don't go down. Yeah. But anyway, so I understand that. My own assessment of the album, it was 9 out of 9. However, last week I let everybody know I actually prefer it more than In Through the Outdoor because of repeated listenings. Okay.
Yeah.
But the
You're
thing
blowing
is,
my mind here.
yes, I know. But there is no doubt that this album sold as well as it did because John Bonham had just died and the fans were in mourning as well as the band.
Yeah.
So anything from this band was going to at least sell well. Now,
A turd or an album you put in a trash bag would have sold.
yeah. When I say I put this album in front of In Through the Outdoor, I meant the new and expanded version. All right. And so here's why I think this album is not only valid, should be out, and should even be kicked upstairs as far as a rating, maybe a 1 notch by everybody, or at least consider it, is this. There are 2 great bands from classic rock that pretty much entertained a decade each. We had the Beatles in the 60s. Led Zeppelin in the 70s. Why would we not have an anthology? We need an anthology by this band. We need an anthology. Michael, and that's what this album serves as.
Michael, one sec. Michael, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I need your address because I'm calling you some paramedics right now.
No. Well, you know,
this is the big one, Elizabeth.
I would probably, I might have to rate this album as my ninth favorite as well. But I would actually put In Through the Outdoor possibly even ahead of Presence, to be honest with you. But anyway,
words.
In Through the Outdoor, Through the Right Eyes is genius. You have to see it the way I saw it. Yeah, and you all commented on the way
just
I
like
looked
you,
at it
I saw
completely different.
I saw it through the right eyes, brother.
Well, you know what?
Presence, it was genius through those eyes.
While we're talking about content creators and fellow YouTubers on screen who don't know what they're talking about, Presence, Royce, is a vastly underrated album and is actually one of their top 5 albums, in my opinion.
Well, you know, Michael, after 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, I mean, you know, there's some that are just, I mean, they're all masterpieces. Come on, it's Led Zeppelin, right?
Yep.
But I mean, some are more so than others. I mean, that's just the way it is. Okay.
And you can't, and that's why I don't have a big problem. You know, I love just fighting about it. You know, because I got an opinion, you guys got an opinion. So let's go to town. That's cool. But you know what? I never, even on comments on my channel, I never cut people down who thoroughly disagree with me. That's what makes the world go round.
Okay, I'm going to stick my own 2 cents in here. Sorry, Royce.
All right.
Okay. Hey,
can
Nick?
You read that?
Yeah. Nick,
please don't let me be outnumbered, God. Please don't let me be outnumbered tonight. Chris is my only hope.
If you give me a second here, you'll find out one way or the other.
Okay.
Go ahead, Chris.
So, Nick, to the point I was going to make. Well, first off, before that, Michael, you were talking about a couple of the live tracks. There were actually 2.
I thought there was. Yeah. Thanks.
We're Gonna Groove is live, and so is I Can't Quit You, Babe.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
Now,
I was going to mention all those when I got to review the soundtrack, but it's all good.
Do you have the 3, like the expanded set, the 3 album set?
Me? No,
yeah, no,
I don't.
Nick,
he does.
Is that the 3 discs?
There's 3 discs in here.
Right. So
yes, sir.
The first 2 songs on disc 3 is worth the whole buy right there. 4 Sticks, or in this case, it's called 4 Hands, and Friends, both with the Bombay Orchestra. Those are really cool.
Okay.
Yes. Good point.
Well, there's a song, St. Tristan's Sword was a song they started with and never finished. They even did a version of Sugar Mama, which is, I think that was what, John Lee Hooker or somebody?
Sounds like a John Lee Hooker
song. The Traveling Riverside Blues was released on there. Hey, what can I do?
Yeah, that's right. Right. Yeah.
I saw somebody in the comment earlier saying, well, it would be better if they had those songs on there. Well, Hey, What Can I Do was actually released, just not on album. It was the B-side of Immigrant Song.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Overall, I think this is a good album. I don't agree with you, as far as how bad it is. I do think that they've done better, and I think the situation when everything ended, they needed to get an album out. All of these songs were already on bootlegs, so they just made it official, basically, right?
Yeah. Well, okay. That's a
I'm not disagreeing with that one bit.
You know.
And separately, a lot of the music is good. Just as an album, I didn't get it.
Yeah.
If there is a criticism that I would agree with, Nick, is as an album, the flow. They were limited in what they could do as far as an artistic flow. So I'll give you that, Nick.
That's what I was trying to say earlier. They would overproduce songs for a certain album, and then they would pick the ones that flowed together the best. Not necessarily rejects. This is not necessarily an album of rejects, but it's just an album of leftovers is what it is. Now, most people would not have blamed Led Zeppelin for soldiering on with a new drummer. Just hire a new drummer. After the death of John Bonham, it certainly wouldn't have been the first time a band's picked up a new member. There are bands touring right now with no no original members.
I want to talk about this for a second, Royce. Yeah, you guys were talking about them possibly continuing on with. Let's talk The Who. The Who became so much less than they ever were the second they continued after Moon, and then when they continue, and Pete and Roger are getting together. They're in talks to tour 2025 as The Who, when the only truly supreme musicians in that band, Pete Townshend, great songwriter, Roger Daltrey, wonderful singer, Pete Townshend, one of the best rhythm guitarists I've ever seen. Okay, for the most part, he's not a great soloist. Okay, they're great on those levels. But up on stage, I saw them live. I'll tell you who the great musicians were. It was freaking John Entwistle and Keith Moon.
Hey, Michael, okay? not that
and
night.
And they lessened themselves. Led Zeppelin's too important to lessen themselves, just like the Beatles.
But
no Ringo,
Michael,
no Beatles.
Absolutely.
Michael, that was the night that Keith Moon passed out and somebody in the audience took his place. So
I was there.
He wasn't the musician that night, okay?
No, he wasn't. And you know what? He was actually a bit sloppy before that, too.
I can imagine. But you usually are before you pass out.
But I'm telling you, the man, he only knew one true peer as far as a rock drummer. I'm not talking about jazz drummers. I'm not talking about John Bonham and Keith Moon were the maniacs. Not even Clapton's drummer from Ginger Baker, who I have. He'd be like number 3 or 4 for sure. But Bonham and Moon, you can't freaking touch them. They're maniacs, you know? And that's why I love Poor Tom. Listen to the song Poor Tom. And then for the first time, folks, maybe for the first time, actually, listen to the lyrics. It's a superior cut. Second cut off the album, even without the extended album. It's a superior Led Zeppelin cut. I think it was earmarked for 3. And I can think of several songs on 3 I would take off and put that on.
And to further their point, Michael, if you don't even necessarily have to listen to the lyrics per se, on the second disc or be side 3 or 4, there's an instrumental version of Poor Tom as well.
Yeah,
which is pretty good. If you really want to key in on Bonham's drums, you can do it, but the instrumental one really good. Those
drums, the intricate play and the spot freaking on timing. I mean, it's one of rock's premier drum tracks. He's not soloing. He's not tripping out or anything like that. It's the perfect example of Bonham being the engine to this band. Right. You know, the throbbing. Oh man, great track.
As always, Eric Schultz is making some absolutely great points on his last couple of. I've left them up a little longer because they're so good. But I just want to say to Nick's point, okay, Nick really made a point there. The album has been described as a lean contractual obligation that doesn't have the same flow as Zeppelin's proper studio albums. Now, I know you agree with that, Nick, but its 8 tracks paint a compelling portrait of their musical evolution over the course of their 12-year career. Okay.
Not the coitus?
I not the coitus. Hey, Chris, can I address Chris for a sec? Hey, Chris.
Yeah, go ahead.
True about the extra discs. I agree. But several Led Zeppelin albums ago, I got shouted down for bringing them up into the conversation because we were discussing just the original releases. That's why I quit reviewing them for this purpose.
Was that here?
Did you notice you and I are the only ones that do that? So we're on the same side as far as that goes.
Right, and I'm with you, but I got shouted down that that wasn't in the right order, or we're not discussing that. It wasn't mean spirited, but I got the feeling that was off limits. So I just quit reviewing those as we went forward. Now I listened to them for my own enjoyment.
I'm making my halo. It wasn't me.
We found the culprit.
Hey, Adam.
You know what? I vaguely remember that conversation. I think I was trying to. Royce and I had been talking about keeping the engine going and keeping track because we had like a good momentum at that point.
Right.
If I offended you, I deeply, humbly apologize.
No. You got. I am not that thin-skinned, my friend.
I didn't think you were, brother.
Amongst the four of us, there's none of us have ever encroached, I believe, on being disrespectful.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
No, I think we can all disagree wholeheartedly and just walk away pretty much unscarred.
Okay.
So.